Life can be a real mofo, with seasons changing on an endless loop. Best mark your territory with your own pee and poop. Much like our beloved Bigfoots in Sasquatch Sunset. We're talking about it on Grover Served. Hi, I'm Tanner Grover. Today we're talking about Sasquatch Sunset. It's an absurd dark comedy that is essentially a silent film. But before we get into the details, if you could go ahead and smash that subscribe button, as if you were a male Sasquatch getting ready to smash with your female partner. After all, reproduction is imperative to the survival of any species. I'd really appreciate that. And while you're at it, go ahead and click that little bell, so hopefully more of me shows up in your feed. That's about the extent of the dialogue in this movie, and it's also code for reminding you that Grover Served is not a spoiler-free channel. You see, I'm going to have to talk spoilers, because I need to be able to adequately express how I felt about the ending of this movie. The film follows the story of 4 Sasquatches as they try to navigate survival over the course of a full calendar year. The film is broken down into 4 parts: spring, summer, fall, and winter. The alpha male and the beta male, played by Nathan Zellner and Jesse Eisenberg, they work in a combination of cohesion and competition, I guess, to provide safety, food, and shelter for the mother and the child, played by Keough and Christophe Zajac-Denec. Spring has sprung, and the alpha male and mother are getting it on in this season of fertility. The film explores primal urges, and it's often depicted quite disgustingly. We have Sasquatch boners, we're smelling lady juices, there's puke, pee, and poop pretty much everywhere. I mean, these characters are gross. However, we do give them little quirks that humanize them to a degree. The child talks through his hand, kind of like Danny from The Shining. It's as if he has voices in his head. And the beta male, he's obsessed with counting, but he can never quite get to 4. He always gets stuck at 3. The alpha male has some substance abuse issues, where one night they get so messed up that they try to fuck a mountain lion. Of course, the mountain lion kills them, and that's the first indicator that this film might not be this comedic joyride I thought it was going to be from the outset. Summer rolls around, and the remaining 3 Sasquatches find a tree marked with a big red X. Later on that season, the beta male finds another tree marked with an X, chopped down in a river. He explores it somewhat innocently, but falls underneath it and finds himself trapped and drowning. The mother and child do everything they can do to save him, but in what's really kind of a horrific scene, the beta male dies. What started out as a silly adventure now all of a sudden feels quite somber. In the fall, the child and mother, who's now very, very pregnant, come across a campsite. She finds a boombox and proceeds to play this 80s song. It throws the two into a fit of rage. The child is tearing into a bag of Twizzlers, stuffing their face with cheese puffs. The mother destroys the tent. Honestly, it feels like a much-needed act of retribution. Then the child throws a frisbee, which hits the mother, causes her water to break, and go into labor, where she abruptly gives birth. The wintertime is just a sequence of trying to avoid death. There's no shelter. There's no food. The child almost gets caught in a bear trap. The baby all of a sudden stops breathing. The mother is exhausted, trying to keep everyone alive. Finally, a forest fire prompts our Sasquatches to bang on trees, something they do throughout the entire movie. It's kind of a means to communicate to other potential Sasquatches that there's danger out there. But the sadness of it all is that there are no other Sasquatches out there. These are the only remaining ones, as far as we know anyway. Hence the title, Sasquatch Sunset. The sun is setting on their species. We end with the child, the mother, and her baby navigating a clearing. They come across this tourist trap-style museum, and there's this large Sasquatch statue out front. They try to communicate with it. They howl, they bark, whatever they do, but to no avail. And we fade to black. Honestly, it's a downer ending. Before I rate this film, if you could remember to subscribe to the channel, maybe even share this page with a friend, I'd really appreciate it. Alright, I'm gonna have to go ahead and give it 3 glasses. One for each of our fallen Sasquatches, and another for just leaving me feeling kinda sad. It's okay to end the movie on a down note. They did it in Empire Strikes Back. However, we also knew we were getting Return of the Jedi, and that's not happening here. I think it could have been saved. You know what I would have done differently? The part where they destroyed the campsite? Why don't we save that? Have them destroy the museum at the very end. That would have left me feeling a little bit better about characters that I kind of care about. Anyways, let me know if you've seen this movie in the comments, or better yet, let me know if you think Bigfoot is real. I don't, but then again, I'm kind of a naive guy living in rural Maine. Wait a minute, isn't that the perfect place to maybe see a Bigfoot? Maybe I should get outside. Alright, thanks for tuning in to Grover Served.